Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to give last minute participant a few more minutes to join us. We're looking at a prompt start at 2 p.m. In the meantime, we indulge your patience and we'll join you in a few short minutes. Thank you again. All right, once again, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for your participation today. My name is Cam Roshan. I'm one of the regional sales directors here at DocuWare. I'm joined by my colleague and our main presenter, Nicole Moody, who is also a regional sales director. Nicole Moody has been with DocuWare for a long time, and she has over 10 years of accounting leadership experience with us. Now she works with companies of all sizes, solving their document management and workflow automation challenges. All right, a couple of housekeeping items. This webinar is being recorded. It's going to be emailed to you later on today. In the handout section of your GoToWebinar panel, there are some very useful handouts for you to download. These include recent case studies, product flyers, in-depth document brochures. So feel free to type in your question as we go along. I'm actively monitoring those questions. Would love to get some feedback and would love to read some of these aloud. And also, please complete the survey that will pop up at the end of this webinar. This gives us a chance to figure out how we're doing. We encourage you to provide us with some suggestions on what other future events you would like to see. Of course, it's not a fun afternoon webinar without getting some cool swag giveaways. All you have to do is just complete that survey. That again pops up automatically at the end of the session, and you'll be entered for a chance to be sent a special DocuWare swag item. So please take the time to do that. Taking a gander at our agenda for today, Nicole is going to kick us off by telling us a little bit why this whole accounts payable automation is so important. What is it about DocuWare invoice processing and how it is able to boost your current AP process and power? And then she'll do an introductory demo of the product where you can see it in action. And we're going to close off with some question and answer session towards the end. All right, so before we start, we like to start with our first poll of the question. For our first question, a poll question. The topic is, how do you process your invoices now, whether they are all paper-based, they're manual, whether they are a mixture of paper and digital processes, but still fairly manual. Perhaps you're one of the lucky ones that have fully automated your solution or something other. So take a few seconds to provide us with your feedback. We would appreciate that. We're getting pretty good participation. Give it a little bit more. There we are. Close to 67% voted. Perfect. All right, let's just go ahead and see what we got. So, a nice little mixture. 50% manual process, 50% with still manual and digital. Awesome. I think this is going to be an incredibly useful webinar in that vein. All right, with much further ado, Nicole, please take it away.
Thank you so much, Cam. Good afternoon, everyone. Yeah, so Cam, if you could hide the poll, there we go.
I did
Thank
that.
you.
Sorry, it took a
Awesome.
little bit to get there.
A little bit of time.
Sorry. Yes.
So let's go ahead and meet your new team member, DocuWare for Invoice Processing. In addition to helping you process invoices faster, DocuWare works on any device, computer, tablet, phone. Processing invoices doesn't just happen at your desk anymore. It gets done wherever you are and wherever your team members need to be. So how fast processing are we talking? How about 567% faster? This company transitioned to DocuWare and they celebrated by having a big paper shredding party. This is a real result from a real DocuWare customer. They did it and so can you. And these are just some of the highlights. This is one of the case studies that you can read and have full access to, which we will be included in the follow-up email. So using DocuWare is as easy as ready, set, go. How do you ask? Start off by saying goodbye to manual data entry and hello to automated invoice processing. Set your team up for success. Everyone's on the same page, working out of the same secure location, same secure solution. Automate your repetitive but important tasks and use your new save time for other projects. Your bottom line, work faster, cut data time by 95%, improve approval time by 80%.
All right, Nicole, let me put my glasses, see if there are any questions. You're doing a banged up job. No questions so far, so let's just proceed.
Awesome. So in the day-to-day, people don't really realize how time-consuming a manual process can be. All it takes is one broken link for it all to fall apart. Someone's out on vacation, maybe the invoice gets left on a manager's desk, was misplaced. Now you're starting the process all over again.
Sorry, there was a little bit of delay on my part getting to the next stage. I apologize.
That's okay. So let's go ahead and see DocuWare in action. So I'm going to switch over the presenter to me and share my screen. Okay. So DocuWare for Invoice Processing provides a powerful cloud solution that completely automates your invoice processing, from capture to data extraction to approval routing to posting to your accounting system, all within a secure, accessible repository. So here is that repository. Here is your DocuWare interface. Again, it's a web-based interface, which means as long as you have access to the internet, you have access to your system. Right now, I'm logged in as Peggy Jenkins. Think about Peggy as the traffic controller of your invoices. She's the one responsible for getting the invoices, getting all the mail, routing the invoices correctly. So that's where we're going to start our demonstration. DocuWare with invoice processing has provided a few industry standard approval processes for organizations. It covers a lot of the approval processes that most companies have. The first example that I want to show you is the straight through approval process. Now, what that means is no one has to physically look at the invoice based on maybe a threshold that you assign the vendor, or let's say it's the rent, which is allocated the same way every single time. No one has to actually look at the invoice for it to get processed, approved, and paid. You'll notice there's some color codes on the invoice. That's our intelligent indexing functionality. That's our machine learned technology, which allows you to train DocuWare to remember where the information is on the invoice, thereby cutting the amount of time it takes to actually index the document. If I hover over it, you can see that the majority of the invoice, the entire invoice actually, is completely indexed, and I haven't even touched the document. So now when I go to add that document to my system, I'm simply just reviewing the information that's on it. So if anything on the document, maybe the vendor changed the format of their invoice, needs to be adjusted, I can simply come into the document, remove it, find out where it is on the document, retrain it, and now the next time I bring this document in, DocuWare will know to look for the information in the new location as opposed to the old location. So I'll go ahead and store this document. This is going to kick off the first workflow for Peggy Jenkins, which is simply just to review the information and proceed with completing the document. Now, the beauty of utilizing DocuWare to not only manage your document, but automate your processes is that you have full visibility of that document. You know exactly when the document was stored. You can assign due date notifications to the document. You can actually enter in the information within how you want that invoice coded through your system. For this example, we have an even distribution. So every time this invoice comes in, it's assigned over these 3 expense accounts, over these 3 departments every single time. If any changes are required to that table field, you need to add a department, maybe add another expense account, you can always update that information within your vendor master file. What we want to do within an accounting department is to make your business more efficient. So I'll go ahead and confirm this. This will then add that document to our list, right? So think about the list as a way to manage, keep track of information within your system, maybe be notified that a change has been made. So in this case, once that invoice was completed, it's then added to a list for ready to export. I'm going to come back to my doc tray and go over our second example. And our second example is our multi-way match. If right now you are utilizing purchase orders and you also need to match that up to a packing slip once the goods are received, and then when the invoice comes in, that invoice can automatically go to the completion step as well, because most of the approval processes are done at the PO level. So again, if I come back to my list, I can see that I have an open PO that's waiting for the goods to be received and the invoice to come in. Now, for me to find if we have that invoice, I can come to my search dialog. Now, typically, you may have your POs and your packing slips in an accordion folder, and then when you need to find one, you have to dig through, your accordion folder or your file cabinet to find that. Well, within DocuWare, you can drill down into your system so that you can find exactly what you're looking for within the system. So now you know the PO is there, the goods have been received because the packing slip is also in your system. So now you can know that you can go ahead and proceed with processing the invoice when received. Now, most organizations will already have a digital copy of their invoice via email. So what they'll end up doing is taking that already digital copy, printing it out, stamping it, coding it, maybe scanning it back, and then emailing it out for approval. Well, with DocuWare, you can take that email and store it directly into your tray, thereby eliminating the need to do that. So we can go ahead and store that. In a second, we'll get a confirmation that the document has been archived. I'll come back to my tray, and here's my document. So for the most part, most of our AP specialists, our traffic controller, will be starting their day in the tray because you can set rules in Outlook that will automatically push those emails from your vendors into a watch folder. DocuWare will watch it and automatically ingest that document into your tray for review. We'll go ahead and store this document, and similar to the WB Mason invoice, once stored, that will automatically go to the completion step. In this example, for expensing this invoice, it's a user defined. So the user defined is, I want to go ahead and account for this in separate GL account codes over the same department. So every time this comes in, maybe it's the same amount, maybe not, the amounts can then be left open so that this invoice can be accounted for accordingly. But again, you can set the vendor master file, predefine it with how you want this vendor to be expensed. That way, every time the invoice comes in, all you're simply doing is maybe updating amounts or just verifying the information and confirming it. Again, coming back to my list, that invoice will then also be added to my ready to export list. So this ready to export list will just continue to grow until you're ready to process that export list and get it out and import it into your accounting system. Our last example is our cost center approval. So right now, if you have an invoice that is requiring approval over multiple departments, typically what you'll do is, again, you'll print it out, stamp it, code it, you'll give it to the first manager for approval, then you'll have to wait for that manager to return it to you before you give it to the second manager for approval. Or maybe you'll send it out via email and you'll have to wait for both emails to come back to you. Well, DocuWare will allow you to bring that document into your system and then send it out to both departments simultaneously. Now, the first step in this process is for Peggy Jenkins to validate the approvers on that invoice. So she'll get a task to let her know that she has to assign the approvers. And again, similar to the two previous examples, this can be predefined and set to exactly what this vendor needs to do every single time. In this case, it is a percentage of gross. So 25% of that invoice goes to one department, 25 to another. Let's say it's not a departmental invoice and maybe it's just assigned to one person. You simply would just select the requester from this list here. Then that invoice would get assigned to that specific person and go to that person only. So I'll go ahead and confirm this. Again, this will go out to both departments simultaneously and not come back to Peggy to sign off on it to complete the process until both signatures or both approvals have been set. Now, most managers are not going to live in DocuWare on a day-to-day basis. They're going to live in their accounting system. I'm sorry, in their Outlook system, right? They're going to be receiving email. So with that, DocuWare gives you the ability to set email notifications to your managers. You can even attach the document to the email if it's not sensitive in nature. If they're logged into DocuWare, they can simply click on the link that will then open up their task from Outlook. So they don't have to leave Outlook, log in separately into their system to make their decision about their document. If you notice, the table field for the managers are locked down, and that's because a lot of organizations don't want their managers to have the ability to make any changes to the GL account coding. But you can always unlock these fields and make them free if it's really the manager that's responsible for GL coding the invoice. So tons of flexibility within your system. So I'll go ahead and confirm this for my email. And for those managers, maybe within the finance department that will live in the system like DocuWare, I can come over to my system and for my manager. She'll receive a notification that she has a task to attend to. And from the web client, you can also go ahead and confirm that task. Peggy then will get her completion task and go ahead and complete that process. This is just that one last check to make sure everything is okay with the invoice before she proceeds. Now you'll notice there's these stamps that are on the document that lets you know every step that the document took throughout the workflow. These are simply overlays on the document. So if you need to send the document outside of the organization, I open up my toolbar navigation and I can simply turn on and off those stamps if I need to send this document outside of my organization. I'll go ahead and confirm that task. And now I'll have 3 documents ready for export. So I'll go ahead and start my export. Now, if your ERP system, your accounting system has the capability of ingesting CSV files directly, once I perform this, you'll have everything that you need in order to import the information directly into your accounting system. Some don't take direct imports and require some sort of bridge software for you to be able to do that. But at the very least, you'll have all the information that you need on one spreadsheet. If that ERP system has the ability to add comments or memos, you even will have the ability to have a URL link to the document. You'd need access rights to see it, but at least you'd have that capability of seeing the document from outside of DocuWare within your ERP system. So that is just an overview of our invoice processing system. There are tons of things and tons of use cases. So it's not narrowed down to invoice processing. That's just one use case of DocuWare, but this can be rolled out across multiple use cases and multiple departments within your organization. So I'm going to turn the presentation back over to Cam to reshare his screen.
Thank you, Nicole. And I am going to, let me know if you're able to see my screen.
I am ready. So sometimes it takes a high level overview to see how inefficient a process really is. The disconnection of documents leads to unnecessary redundant copies. With DocuWare, you have a secure centralized repository that anyone with rights can access from anywhere there's an internet connection. Efficiency is one of the top reasons most companies want to move to a DMS, and DocuWare offers that with our approval workflows. Any company that's been fined after an audit will appreciate the readiness that's available with DocuWare. With our fast and simplified implementation, your company can be up and running in days.
All right, we've reached our second poll, and let me go ahead and share that poll with you. And here we want to find out which one of the DocuWare benefits you're most excited for. Is it speed, processing more invoices in the same amount of time, perhaps transparency, everyone working together where you have a full oversight of where documents are, perhaps saving time, less back and forth, or something other. Please take a few seconds to allow us to see that and make your choices. Give it a couple of more seconds. Excellent. Let's go ahead and close. Oh, we had a last second addition. All right, let's go ahead and share this result and see what we got. Nice, 33% transparency and 67% other. Great, fabulous. Okay. Let's move on to the next topic at hand. So for the second consecutive year, we're very proud of this. We were selected by Nucleus Research under the expert category for their Magic Quadrant of ECM vendors for greater usability and better functionality, two of the very major reasons why folks need to invest in a document management and ECM solution. And being in that category of experts is absolutely a great honor for us. You know, DocuWare has many certifications. Obviously, document security, compliance is a big topic and a very important one. And so we have tons of those. And also when it comes to references, in my humble opinion, the unsolicited, honest feedback that you get from users are probably the best ways for you to be able to gauge a solution like DocuWare. So we recommend you taking a look at G2, Gartner Peer Insight, Capterra, and other similar publications and see what other DocuWare customers have to say about our product. You know, we cater to companies from all sizes, all shapes, from very small to very large customers, and almost in all cases, these companies heavily rely on DocuWare for security and housing their documents, as well as automating their mission critical, business critical processes and more. All right, we got a couple of questions, Nicole. Looks like. Let me put my glasses one more time, read these. Oh, these are good questions too. All right, first one. Can you view documents and tasks on your phone?
Absolutely. So DocuWare offers a mobile app, which gives you the ability to view not only your documents, but view any tasks and that, again, that's anywhere that you have an internet connection.
Wonderful. Second question, my chart of accounts has multiple segments. Can DocuWare handle that?
Yes, we can. We can handle up to 6 different general ledger segments. So if you manage your expenses by job, if you manage your expenses by cost center, by projects, we can absolutely handle that.
All right, let's pick this other one. This is also a nice one. Can DocuWare handle multiple subsidiaries?
Yes, we can. So the chart of accounts is usually broken down by subsidiary. So at the time of storage, you would select what subsidiary the invoice belongs to. And then when we go to the coding phase, only the chart of accounts for that particular subsidiary would be available for that vendor.
Excellent.
So really at the end of the day, we're going to ask, like, what's going to be your next move after the webinar? We hope that you take the next step and move forward with DocuWare to give you, so that you can enjoy some digital storage and automated workflows. And we hope you don't stay stuck in your current solution or situation, especially if you're utilizing a manual process. You know, we don't want you to be wasting time and money and, you know, dealing with the risk compliance or any fraud that you may be possibly faced with.
Yeah, stay out of the red. Yeah, and as Nicole said, you know, if there's one thing we would like you to take with you today is the power of a solution like DocuWare, specifically in how we are able to help you with your current invoice processing, any financial sort of workflow challenges with what we call a 24/7 accounts payable team member. But also keep in the back of your mind that this is not a one-trick pony. It is one that can help you across many different business segments and business units and requirements. And in conclusion, if you're interested to learn more about how Sistel and DocuWare can help you, your organization, in your accounts payable process, in any of the number of ways that we can automate and provide you with a content management solution, please feel free to reach out to your Sistel representatives. We're looking forward to continuing this discussion, do anything from discovery, doing demos, whatever it takes. And if you need more information, please visit the below URL where you can find also a ton of information about the software. This concludes our today's webinar. We really appreciate your participation. And Nicole, any closing statements?
Nope, just thanks to everyone for their time, and thanks to Sistel for graciously hosting us for this webinar.
Absolutely.
And everyone enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. All right. Bye-bye, everyone.